Hi, everyone. This is Jeff from that'sgoodenough.for me.com, and this is another episode of Almost Punk Enough, the That's Good Enough for Me podcast. Someone mentioned to me that we don't have any intro music yet, so there you go. I am here today with J Prozac of the Prozacs. How you doing, Jay?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Hey, thank you for coming. We're here talking today, not because of your large discography of music, although that's pretty great to talk about anyways, but because we did do an interview with the Muckspout guys on the Muckspout Split anthology comic and multimedia experience, and you were unable to make that interview, so we thought we'd just kind of catch up with you later to kind of get your side of the story without them peering over your shoulder.
There
So
we go.
yeah, I
Appreciate it.
know.
No, just kidding. I wish I was on there. I wish I was on there, but I appreciate you having me come on with you.
Yeah, no, I'm more than happy to help you on. This is our first time talking to you, and hopefully it won't be the last. So first off, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
All right.
Just got off a 12-hour work shift.
Oh, good Lord, good Lord. What do you do?
Ah, it's not making punk rock.
No, no.
I,
Well,
I, I'm a machine operator in a
mm,
factory,
yeah, yeah.
working with paper and foil and fabric.
Nice, nice. Well, 12 hours. Oof, that's got to be tiring.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, So how do
Got
you
to got
have
to pay the
time?
we got to pay the bills.
Yeah, how do you have time for punk rock then?
That's a touchy situation.
Oh, oh, we'll get that next time. So,
Yeah.
hey, so everyone who listened to episode 10 heard from Eric and John about the Muckspout Split comic book that you are involved in. This is their first issue, and they're currently Kickstartering it over on Kickstarter. So we'll have the link, and you can head over there, dear listener, to help support the project. I have.
Yeah.
But one of the
Yes.
things they really had a lot to talk about was how you kind of came on board and they were just hoping for a little bit of involvement. And then you just basically dove head first. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the project in the first place.
Um. So I guess Eric and John had mentioned it to me. I want to say maybe the very beginning of this year, or earlier, or later last year, sometime last winter. So it's probably about a year ago, give or take. Uh, John lives probably about an hour from me, and I met him a few years ago. And I actually met Eric through the Muckspout with John, maybe a couple of years ago, and I actually talked about writing a theme song for their podcast,
Oh, okay, okay.
which I never actually did. I had some ideas, and I just
Whoops.
for whatever reason just never got to it. But I guess the comic book project was something these guys had already had in the works. And I guess I don't remember exactly how it came about, to be honest. But I think Eric had asked about if I was okay with them making a comic based around the Prozacs or myself,
Okay.
and I guess it started from there. And once they started talking about the whole project all together, which seemed really freaking cool, doing like a split 7-inch sort of thing, but with comics. It
Yeah,
seemed like a
yeah.
really cool thing. And at that time, I kind of offered up. I was like, wow, this would be cool to write some songs. Write something about their comics. So I kind of felt like I overextended myself, and nothing really came from it. But Eric had sent me a what would you call it? Like the basic story of his comic.
Yeah, like the
And
outline kind of thing. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yep.
So as things were kind of coming together, I had gotten that, but I just didn't get to writing any songs. And probably I want to maybe 3 months ago, 3 4 months ago, I actually got some pages. Eric hit me back up and was like, "Hey, we're moving on this project." And I think they they weren't expecting any music, and I got the pages and was instantly inspired to write. So
Yeah, and right you did. Like there's like five songs, right?
yeah, so actually, so what happened was I instantly the day that I got the comics, both of their comics, which are Feral Punk and the Stardust Projector. Like
Yep,
as
yep.
soon as I got the pages, I just the songs wrote themselves. Like the I was like in bed talking to Eric, and he was sending me the stuff, and I picked up an acoustic guitar and had some ideas, and just it just happened. I wrote both songs that day, and it was probably a few days later. I wound up writing a theme song for Muckspout. Again, I think just the inspiration of everything just kind of happened,
Yeah,
and so I
at a
wrote,
certain point, like it just kind of like that the floodgates opened, if you will, right?
right. So that happened pretty instantaneously. Actually, the funny with the theme song. So I can't remember exactly when it was, but I know I had a studio session booked, and I woke up one morning. I wrote the song, and the next day it was like 24 hours later. I was in the studio and recorded the Muckspout theme song.
Wow. Yeah, that's
And
pretty cool.
yeah, so there's five songs total. The other two songs were tied in with the comic that Eric had written having to do with the Prozacs, and he referenced two songs within the comics of Prozac songs from way back. And at first, he was asking me if I had like any demo versions or unreleased versions of like one of the songs in particular. And I don't know. I was just like, what if I recorded a brand new version? And I happened to already be had studio time booked, so all this stuff was just kind of getting thrown in on this session I already had going. So I wound up pulling together one of my ex drummers from way back in like 2004, who was in the band for like eight
Wow.
months. Glenn, he's actually got a project called Pavid Vermin that he does currently.
We cover
And
them.
yeah. So I got Pavid Glenn. We haven't played together in like I don't even know 20 years. And yeah. So he came in the studio and we banged out a bunch of songs for multiple projects. And we recorded an old Prozac song called "Those Pants Would Look Better on Your Sister," and I renamed it, but and I did another Prozac song from the first album.
Nice.
So yeah, so those are the five tunes, and been banging away at those. I actually just got the finished. I think the finished masters I finally settled on, so now they're in mastering right now, and yeah, so that's my side with the music. Yeah, and the I don't know. That's kind of what I got.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like how did Eric come to you? So he did the Feral Punk story. Someone
Right,
else drew it. But then the other story and the one you're referring to with the two songs is a blister, which is his like his character
right.
and he does the art there. Did he come to you first just asking like, "Hey, can I have you in this comic?" Because it takes place in like the 90s, 2000s kind of thing. Or did he come to you with an idea, like a bigger idea than just having you appear?
Um, it's kind of foggy to be honest. Uh,
Yep.
th- so, so I'm trying to remember exactly how it all came together. But he did ask me, like, I don't know if having that the comic with the Prozacs or whatever was part of the initial plan,
Okay. Okay.
or I can't I don't even do drugs, so I don't know what my problem is.
Come on, it was like a year, like half a year ago, whatever. You know, I can't
Yeah,
remember what I did last week. So,
right. So he did ask permission, and he did have an idea, and I remember he asked me if I had a particular show from a time period that he could
oh,
use to write about this story, which I did, and it was one of the first year that the Prozacs were playing a lot when we kind of came on the map, which was 2003. So we
Right.
had a show with Squirt Gun and Even in Blackouts and the Beatnik Termites. We did two a
Okay.
weekend with those guys. And so there was a show in Albany, New York, and that was the show I gave him. So that was kind of the reference point, which those things aren't referenced, but that was the reference point. And yeah, he asked permission and he came up with a story,
That's
you
pretty
know,
cool.
and the songs he used, from what I remember, I think he asked because the song that he used was based around was a song called "Those Pants Would Look Better on Your Sister," and all that song was a the lyrics are "I hate your fucking emo band, I can't stand it," which again I wrote this 20 years ago,
Right. Right. Well,
and
yeah.
and the funny thing is it's still relevant. No,
Oh,
actually, if funny story. I want to
hot take.
what the reason I actually wrote the song was back then I had a bunch of people were in the local scene were dubbing the Prozacs emo. They're like, oh, Jay's writing emo songs now. And I was in a real fast punk band before that called the Grand
Uh,
Prix. And
right.
we were just like, yeah, they kind of, so, but what they were calling emo were songs that were like 50s pop inspired doo wop stuff. So I'm just like, you guys don't even know what the fuck
No, yeah.
emo is, do you? You know?
Yeah, yeah,
So
I get
so
that a
the
lot.
song was kind of tongue in cheek. Not that that the emo of the early 2000s was my genre of music, but I think they kind of stole it. They stole the pop punk term. Those bastards.
I know they did. It's like it's almost the point now when I write about it. It's like I'm writing about a band. I'm like, yeah, they're considered pop punk, but it's not what I consider pop punk. Like I grew up on
Right.
like pop for me, pop punk was like, boogada boogada boogada,
Oh
and
yeah.
sludge and all that stuff. And like this is like I kind of counter it and I say like arena pop punk. Like the kind of stuff that
Right.
plays to like the kids who didn't listen to punk rock, but they love this.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So that's the story behind the song. That it
nice.
was that why I wrote it was kind of a tongue in cheek response to being called an emo band, and it
Right.
went by, you know, just because I guess they didn't understand that. I don't think emo didn't mean slow or a mid tempo pop tune, and
Right.
I think there was a whole different style that went with that. But anyways, that was what I wrote it about. And the second song referenced was from the first Prozacs album, a song called Prom Night, which was, when I started the Prozacs, it was kind of writing the generic Prom Night double feature. I was at the Mutant Pop Records big time in the, before Ramones Core was termed or whatever, it was
Right, right.
those kind of stuff. So I came out of the gate with like almost that generic just for fun. I didn't think I was going to take this band seriously.
Yeah. Well, now here you are. And
I have.
in
I
just
don't know
yeah,
if anyone else has, but I did.
yeah. All right. So we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back with more with J Prozac and the Muckspout Split. And we are back. So, for everyone who listened to the interview with Eric and John, they had a lot of glowing things to say about Jay's eventual output for this project and coming in with 5 songs when they didn't even really expect one. Um, and they're hopeful that you kind of laid this like foundation for future issues and they're not really thinking that other musicians will come in with the same fervor as you have, but I mean that's kind of feel kind of cool that they were really so excited by what your eventual involvement was, doesn't it?
Yeah, I might have got myself in trouble here. I don't know
That's kind of what I think of what I said. Like,
for whatever comes in the future. To be honest, I mean the project inspired it was the inspiration. These guys have an incredible. There's like 10 or 12 incredibly talented people involved in this. I mean those guys writing the stories. The art is amazing. I mean
yeah,
all the
yeah,
artists with the different styles and things like I didn't even realize in comics. Like somebody else doing might come in and do the wording and do the
yeah,
lettering and
yeah. The
stuff. So
lettering, yep, yeah.
so I'm kind of learning some things here, and yeah, I don't know. I'm stoked that they're stoked. And
De definitely, yeah. So like,
yeah, like I said,
okay.
oh no, go ahead.
No, so it's like I mean, it really is kind of cool, and I think that maybe your excitement on the project and also learning new things may be the type of template that other musicians who or artists who join up may not fully expect, but it may be a type
Right,
of like, like the kind of lodestone that shows everyone the way that this is like something that is a multimedia project. And the hope is that, people will get to not only be a part of it, but also begin to understand different parts of what other people do. Like, I don't
right,
know how much Eric or John knows what it's like to go recording or when you have recording time and what it's like to bring people in, but you've kind of shown them that, and they've also shown you, yes, there is an artist whose job is to create the lettering for this story. It's
right,
insane.
right. Everything's a process, and with music, I mean, it can go over the year. I mean, I've gone from going in a studio and banging out a song, banging out multiple songs in a few hours and walking out with a finished product to kind of where I am now. It's a much more in-depth process for me,
Right, right.
and it's and I'm lucky in my music life, to have some people around me that believe in what I do and are, and help out there, and so yeah, it went from like banging out a couple of guitar tracks and a single vocal to multi-layering and having an awareness of like, you know, we've got frequencies and things here. We have all these layers and tracks. We have, writing harmonies and does this work together? Does that work together? We're having input from other people. And I've been sharing everything I can with Eric and John just because I'm a process guy. I love the process of creation. A lot of guys want to go in and do whatever it is they do, and then aren't around again until whatever it is finished.
Yeah, definitely.
And
One of the things that surprised me most in my youth um, was having friends who are going into the studio for the first time. And, they'd go into a studio, they'd bang out their songs, then be done. And then it started getting to the point when, like, the person recording them was starting to give them pointers. Well, why don't you
right,
change this? Why don't you do this? And I'm like, wait, is that actually a thing that like they're allowed to do? And like, yeah, yeah. Like, sometimes they may have a good idea. And I didn't think it was like that collaborative. And then like, this is when I'm like 16, 17 kind of thing.
right,
And so it's like, it's surprising how much bigger it can become than what you expect.
yeah,
And that, I was just an observer. I mean, I was never playing in any of these bands, but I was hanging out
right,
with them when they're recording. So it's like it's kind of I mean, that's a part of all these things. I also do a lot of illustration myself, and there was a point, I just draw things, and then I realized I had like people were sometimes editorial and giving me advice that I should follow, and sometimes I really had to follow. So
right.
it's quite exciting, quite interesting. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, yeah, and there's different sides of it because you got guys that are literally just getting paid to record, and they're fine with that. You play your
Yeah.
music, you do your thing. They'll hit the buttons and do whatever. But then you got, I've come to love the actually having a producer and having
Yeah.
that person. I like having talented people that are giving all those things. And not collaboration can be tough, especially when you have ideas. Like I can be I generally know what I want,
Yep.
and
Yep.
so it's taken years of and maybe I still struggle with it too, where
Yeah.
no, this is what I want. This is how I want it done. This is, you know, but when
Right.
you're collaborating, you gotta open yourself up, maybe be stingent on what you really want if but also be just being open. Like it doesn't hurt to try something and you never know. Um,
Yeah. Like be receptive to some of the suggestions because sometimes you're like, I don't know how it's going to feel. I don't know if it's going to work. But then you try it and you're like, oh, wait, it does.
I've
Or it
literally
doesn't, but you give it a try,
I brought in players, people to play on stuff, and like, cause I don't know, it enhances things, or it can change things, or you can better things, or. But I brought people in, and I'm just like, no, I shouldn't have done this. But then you sit back and you're like, now you're like, why did you bring this person in? Because they're talented and they have something to offer, and they have a different spin or take on something. So then you sit back and you're like, well, this is why I brought them here, and sometimes you got to
Right,
get
right.
out of your own head. One of the cool things with, say, like this project, and I've had this happen in some other projects in the past, is like the Prozacs is my main, that's been my thing over the years, was,
Yeah.
up until a certain point. And I think you can wrap yourself into a box where my old band was like that, the Grand Prix, which was one of the reasons I moved on, because the band seemed to think we had to be within a certain parameters that we set for ourselves.
Hmm.
And this is what we sound like. And so, and I even with the Prozacs, I've done that. I've done that to myself. I put myself in a box, and even though I could tell myself I can write whatever I want, but I think it just had this internal thing where it's like, this is what this sounds like, and it
Yeah.
needs to be within this, and I can't stretch too far. But the other thing is sometimes I have a hard time going back to basics. I'm like, I've done this a million times. I can write a 3 chord Lookout Records, mutant
Yep.
pop punk rock song, because I've done it 1,000 times, and I think they usually turn out pretty decent. and
Yeah.
uh and what I've found, like with Muckspout, the first song, I the songs I wrote, especially Stardust Projector, was like J Prozac 101 for me.
Hmm.
Where I'm like, but so the thing that you put in your head is, you're like, well, this is for another project. So fuck it. I can write something I've written 1,000 times. And I've had that happen. Like I've written comp song, like a song for a compilation, like, like on it for an album, and it was written like the night before going in the studio. And it was like the most generic for me, of like like I said, like the thing I feel like I can just do in my sleep. And that turns out being like the most fun song to play, and like maybe a favorite on the record. So it's like going back and being able to, take like a band like Green Day, who, maybe it's like they regurgitate certain things, but at the
Hmm.
same time, you love those things,
Hmm.
and so that's what doing some of these other projects I found, you know, like I was amped on these songs. I showed Eric and John. I'm just like, fuck, like I want to put these on my next record, my next album. Like I had this, I'm inspired more writing. So it was just kind of like this snowballing thing. And I probably went way off of whatever question I was asked.
Oh no, that's fine. That's
We'll be
perfect.
getting it
That's
here.
perfectly fine. All right, and we will be right back in just a moment. Once more with Jay Prozac. And we are back. And before we finish up for today, I just want to talk about things non-Muckspout split related. So you said you've been doing some more recording and stuff and working with other musicians. I'm curious, what bands have you been listening to lately, if any?
Oh, bands that I've been listening to. It's hard to find time to listen to music. I've had on rotation in my car, Stray Bullets from Boston.
Okay, okay.
Um, so I've been rocking them a ton. They're kind of a little bit ska flavored Boston punk rock. You should check them out. They're Stray Bullets.
All right. Yeah, we'll link to them in the information in the podcast.
So
And
they're pretty badass. And,
yeah.
um, damn, I listen to Screeching Weasel like just my whole life, pretty much at this point. And I still do. Actually, my 20-year-old son has been like all in with he's getting all in with all these bands that he grew up listening to, but now he's
Right.
actually learning about them, like we all did. And so that's pretty cool. So he's asking me questions all the time, and I'm flipping through listening to different stuff. And but yeah, what am I listening to? I don't know. I don't know what else I'm listening to right now.
Stray Bullets. Stray Bullets is all Jay is listening to.
I've been hitting that one. I had a Groovy Ghoulies reissue that I've been rocking a lot.
Oh, that's good.
So
That's good.
kind of a lot. You know, it's tough. Like I don't I don't know. You get in a spot where you just wind up listening to the same like group of records like your whole life.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, and
It's
there's a
true.
lot of I'm excited. I got the Louseketeers, which I'm wearing their shirt today.
Yep,
Uh,
yep.
I got they got a new record coming, CD coming in the mail, so I'm anxious to listen to that.
Yeah, I think
Um,
they have a video that's either premiered today or like released today or is coming up shortly. I got it in my little queue. Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like a jackass because they had asked me to sing on some songs, and I bailed on that. I'm so sorry, you guys. I had like I had like a year to do it, and all these projects and everything. But man, I'm kind of stumping on like what else I'm listening to. I have a pile of records to listen to.
Well,
Uh,
that's okay. We don't want to stump you too much. But you kind of answered one of our other questions. And what bands do you know of, maybe local to your scene, or maybe not everyone has heard about that they should be checking out? And of course, one of them is the Losketeers, which we do cover quite often. But is there anyone else you can think of that people should be checking out?
yeah, local. So Greg, who plays in the Prozacs, he with me the last few years. He's got a band called Trash Mammals, and they're really great. They're very punky, uh, drawing from like old school Dead Kennedys and like that kind of world. Black Flag.
Okay.
My buddy, the Agonizers, are really awesome. Uh, they're based in Connecticut and Massachusetts. Those guys are kind of in that again punky kind of ska, but they kind of in that rancid way.
Right, right.
Um,
Yeah.
there's a lot of big ska going on around here. Um, there's a lot of people in the area that are in a lot of great bands. My buddy Vic, who's been playing on a lot of my releases, and I'm actually doing some studio recording with. Uh, his main venture is a band called the Pilfers, and they've been around forever. They're punk ska reggae. Actually,
Okay.
the singer of the Pilfers originally sang for the Toasters, but
Oh, okay. Okay.
so and Vic's an amazing studio musician, and he's involved in a bunch of projects. Futon Lasagna, based out of the Boston area, and that's Matt, who also has been playing in my circle, is in that band.
I haven't heard that
Um,
one.
yeah, right. It's a good one. Yeah, there's quite a bit going on.
Awesome.
So
Well, yeah, that's quite a few bands right there. I think we've done stuff with the Agonizers before, and I've heard of Trash Mammals, but I don't know if you've covered them. But the Pilfers and Futon Lasagna, I will definitely have to check out for the future.
some
So,
of the younger, some of the younger bands. There's a band called Film and Gender, and
okay.
they're a two piece, and like they're really bringing in I don't know they're kind of like what we all were when we were younger, and and they're hip to the culture, and these kids are playing basements, playing small clubs, and you know so Film and Gender I would check out. They
Definitely.
really get that punk aesthetic. It's a bass and drums, and
Okay. Okay.
they're representing the different communities we should all be supporting and all the people around us. So I'm
Right.
very supportive of all that. And oh yeah, there's a lot of bands. Slob Drop, another one from I believe they're in Vermont. There's a bunch of bands, really.
All right. Yeah, yeah, no. That's awesome. Well, on that note, we're gonna wrap it up. But thank you, Jay, for taking this moment to speak to me, and definitely we look forward to hopefully the successful, excuse me, uh, funding of this Kickstarter project. Once again, the link will be in the information, as well as on the That's Good Enough for Me social media. And yeah, thanks very much for taking this time to speak to us today.
Oh, I appreciate it so much. Thank you for the years of support of my music and everybody else's. Definitely doesn't go unnoticed. And yeah, I'm thankful to be a part of this project with Muckspout and everybody else, and to be 50 years old and still getting to do this shit.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well,
So
yeah, that's super great. So, yeah, you have a great night, and we'll be talking to you hopefully again soon, maybe about other things that you've got in the works since you're in the studio so recently.
definitely anytime, Jeff.
All right, have a good one, Jay. Cheers.
Thanks. Have a great night. All right. Bye.
Bye bye.